Hello, my name's Anne Cook and I'm here to give my view on mesh, which I had fitted on the 18th of May 2012. I was 57 years old, just beginning to get grandchildren and was wanting to pick them up and actually put washing in the washing machine and pick things up off the floor, and I was suffering with stress urinary incontinence. So I went to my GP and I can't even think of the word. The other problem with mesh is you also have brain fog, very badly. I was referred to go to a consultant and he said that very quickly he could sort me out and fitted me with some tape. It wasn't called mesh. I think if it had been called mesh, I would have looked it up, but a little tape-like ribbon, not too much problem. So I went in and I woke up from this operation. It was only 20 minutes long and I was in absolute agony. I kept telling them I was in agony and, well, it didn't matter really. Just go home, come back tomorrow, and because I had to have a catheter overnight and I had to be shown how to self-catheterise at 7 o'clock the next morning. So we went home and we came back to the hospital the next morning and I had to be shown this how to self-catheterise because I just couldn't go to the toilet on my own. Nobody was concerned as to whether it was a problem and why I was in so much pain. Apparently I should have been able to go back to work on the following Monday. This was Wednesday. I didn't go back to work for 12 weeks. I could wee myself, that wasn't a problem in the end, eventually. But I was on an awful lot of drugs to go back to work. I had gabapentin, I had Solpadol, I had amitriptyline. They were really strong drugs. In the meantime, I was Googling every 5 minutes for people who got a problem with TVT. And because that's what it was, a transvaginal tape, didn't say mesh. And then I couldn't find anybody at all, so I thought I was on my own, and I kept being told that I was the only person in the world, because he was a world expert, my consultant, who had a problem with it. So it must have all been in my head, and to just go away and get on with it.
You were sent to a pain clinic?
I was sent to a pain clinic.
Which didn't do much good at all?
No. And in July 2013, he, I think, got fed up with me, so gave me an investigation under anaesthetic. He proceeded to tell me that absolutely everything was fine and it was still in my head, and just to up the amitriptyline, which I was taking anyway. That Christmas I saw an article in the Daily Mail which said about removing TVT. So I got home on the Boxing Day and I sent an email to her. 10 minutes later she emailed me back to say she thought that I had definitely got a problem and to go to the doctors and get a referral. I did that. I saw her at the end of January and I had my first removal operation in May 2014. A year later, when that had settled down, I then went back and had a birch colpo suspension and a second removal. I still have a problem now because I've still got 2 bits of mesh left inside me. At the time she wasn't doing scanning to see if there was anything there where it was. So, and I was one of the last people who that happened to, when she realised that it was good to get people scanned before, or ladies scanned before the removal operation, the second one at least. So I'm now have been referred at to have the last 2 bits of mesh taken out. In all this time, I was 57 when I had it inserted, and now I'm 64 at the end of the week. I've just been on drugs the whole time, and it's really difficult. I'm in pain 24/7. It's like having constant period pain. At night I dream about that I'm in pain, so I'm used to it, but it really doesn't help to get a really good night's sleep when you're dreaming so much. I would like to think that when I have my 2 bits of mesh out that's left, I would be normal, but it's not going to be the case because I'm going to be left with nerve pain all the time. The 2 little bits that I've got either side of my tummy is like broken glass, and that will be nice not to have that pain, those 2 pains, but at the same time I'm still going to have nerve pain forever, I'm sure. My husband and I have only been married 10 years, so it's been difficult. I'm difficult when I'm in pain sometimes, and when I need to take my medication, because I don't think anybody would understand just how bad it is when you need to take medication. And I'm about half an hour away from taking it. I really don't want to overdose. But anyway, my husband's brilliant. Thank you.
Drugs have affected Anne's ability to work. She's now unemployed. We had to move from North Hertfordshire to Trowbridge in Wiltshire to downsize our house so Anne could give up work. It's fair to say her son lived down there, so that was a slight reason, but that's why we chose Trowbridge, and the housing was much cheaper. So we were able to have some money to be able to pay for Anne to retire early, because she's a waspie and can't retire till she's 66, which was another thing against us. One thing I would say, I've been to a lot of meetings. I've been to meetings in the House of Commons and all over the place, Southampton, and the constant thing about the mesh operations is that the surgeons didn't take it seriously, the result of the operation on the women. And most people said the same thing without any collaboration. It's you're the first person that we've noticed having a problem, and everybody says the same thing, and there was just a total lack of understanding. And when I was at a meeting in the House of Commons, I asked, do the professional bodies take any interest in it? And the answer was they've got vested interests. And so that did surprise me. I brought up when we were in Southampton at the review stage, we know somebody who had mesh after, had the troubles after 15 years of having it in. So this, what we're seeing now, might not be the end of it. Even if they stop the operation today, it could result in more people coming on stream with problems.
Gosh, yeah, tip of the iceberg, I think it's called. My hopes for the future are that the last 2 bits will go and won't have broken glass feeling anymore. And it'd be wonderful not to have nerve pain, but I honestly don't think that's going to happen for me personally. I decided to speak out about mesh, and I've been front page news a couple of times, which was a bit shocking because I worked in an all-male environment at the time. But my hope was always that nobody else would have mesh, or anybody that I knew would have mesh, so I actually do talk about it quite a lot. It's not a subject that everybody wants to hear about, but I hope that nobody will have mesh again, ever.